So we will move right along to item 1.2, which is a discussion and a vote regarding the Massachusetts State Lottery Commission notification of a potential installment of a Keno monitor at the Dover Wine Company. And I'm going to move this over to Mike, who is going to give us a presentation, or we'll start a discussion on the advantages and disadvantages of installing this monitor.
Yeah, thanks, Robin. So I'm going to keep an eye on the attendee list. We've played phone and email tag with the owner of the market. He indicated he'd be very more than willing and happy to attend, but we didn't get a formal confirmation for today. So I'll just keep an eye out. If he comes, we can move him in, Chris. So very long story short, we received a notice in your packet from the State Lottery Commission that there's an interest in installing a Keno computer screen or TV screen at the market. For those who are not familiar, and I have to say I've never played Keno, but I'm familiar with it. It's not unlike when you buy numbers for the Powerball or Mega Millions or something like that. The difference is, instead of like a once a week or twice a week drawing that you usually check from home on your phone or on the computer, this is throughout the day. So it's like a short term, almost live interactive. You pick your numbers and then you watch the game. If there is a screen, you can watch it on the screen and see right away if you won or not. Right now, you can already purchase all lottery products, including Keno, at the market. There's just not this screen to see the results live for the Keno game. So in our back and forth, and I don't want to misspeak because sometimes it's hard over email, but the owner, Nirav, does have an interest in this screen, would like to have the screen, but like I said, I still don't see him. I was hoping he could be here to kind of talk through a little bit with you. As you see in the letter, it indicates that the selectmen have the opportunity to object to this installation. If you don't do anything, it's approved. And if you would like to object, we have to send written notification to the lottery. I did work with council just to kind of set an expectation for the board. If your say was actually had any weight, if it was just a suggestion, the commission would do whatever they wanted. And the truth is that, yes, the selectmen do have a say. It recently, some other communities have objected to certain screens or the number of screens. So the lottery does listen, and ultimately, if the board doesn't feel this is a good fit, we believe the commission would honor that. So there's a couple of things that we thought we were hoping Nirav could talk through. So one is, obviously potential downsides, which would be people hanging out in the store more. So you'd have people there looking at this screen, and then obviously they would need to design or devote some portion of their floor space to allow people to hang out in the store and look at this screen. So obviously we don't have a plan for that. I don't know exactly what that would look like. I think they certainly do have space. There's a number of unused portions of that store, but that would, to me, would be the potential downside. The positive, I guess, would be the inverse. More people would be hanging out, and so maybe would buy more food and drinks and things for the business. So I think from an economic development or commercial standpoint, that would be the interest of Nirav in having this at the facility. So there is a short time frame. We got this letter a week ago, 2 weeks ago. We've been working with council and Nirav to try to bring it before you. This was your next available meeting. So there is a bit of a short turnaround, but I just thought I would open it up to any discussion or questions. I can try to answer it again. We'll keep an eye in case Nirav does attend.
So I have one question that was unclear to me. Did the owner request a monitor, or did the Mass Lottery Commission reach out to the owner?
We're not quite clear on that through email, and that's one of the things we were hoping to learn today.
Right, and then
it looks like from the letter that it's the lottery's intent to install a monitor. It doesn't say that the store owner has requested. So this looks to me to be 100% lottery driven. And I also, just looking at their numbers, clearly they're using averages over all communities within Massachusetts, the 351 they cite, because estimated weekly traffic, 750.
I know,
Sure,
I
there's
know.
750 people that walk into that building in a month. So I look at this and I personally have great pause and caution because there's also the issue of parking. And if you look at, if this is the quote place to hang out, well, it's the Dover Market. There's really not a place to properly hang out. We just built a community center across the street for that. So I just don't see A, the need, B, is it something we want? Do we want a bunch of people sitting around? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm going to be paint a picture here that is only from my own observations. But when you go into other towns, there's people sitting around smoking cigarettes, playing this game like it's an addiction. And it's like, oh, well, there's another one in 5 minutes. Oh, there's another one in 5 minutes. It's not where you go in, buy a lottery ticket, get something to eat, and leave. So, do we really want this in town? And then, if it does take off, well, then we're going to have parking issues because there's not a lot of parking in downtown Dover. So, in case you can't tell, I have real reservations about this. I just don't see, the lottery's offering it. And of course, the lottery wants to increase sales. But my final one is this now going to be unfair to Dover Mobile, who also sells lottery tickets? So,
Well, Dave, I feel sort of quite ambivalent about the whole thing. I'm not sure the Holocaust is going to come to town because we've started put up a screen where they're already selling these tickets. But I am concerned about the implications of promoting gambling, and I'm very aware of the damage it does to a large number of people. And so for that reason, I'm not particularly keen on it. On the other hand, I see the need to promote and support businesses in town to enable them to sustain themselves better. And I know that it has been a challenge for small businesses here to maintain themselves. And I don't really want to put obstacles in the way of that. So hence my ambivalence. I would be prepared to support it, but I don't really, I would be holding my nose in doing so. Let's put it that way.
So Cam, I'm on the same page as you, and that's why I asked the question, was this something the business owner requested, or
Mm-hmm.
is it something that the lottery, it is unfortunate that the business owner isn't here this evening. I would also like to understand, I know this is a business that they're having a difficult time getting jump starting, and if they are are they currently deriving $23,500 from Keno sales? Again, is this an average? Is this the average when there's a monitor? Because it's less when there isn't a monitor. And also, the only place I've ever seen a Keno monitor is at a bar, with people sitting around and socializing. And to Dave's point, I don't know how this is a market. So I'm not sure how that works. And my final point, which was your point as well, I don't want to promote gambling, especially in the younger residents in town. So I'm also ambivalent. I would also have to hold my nose. It's nothing that I would really like to have in town. I'm not sure it's necessary, but again, I would like to support the little commercial businesses that we do have. So,
but
right now with the owner not here to defend themselves, I would or to give us more information, and if time is of the essence, then I would need to vote no because I just don't know enough. And
Yeah,
Mike,
I understand where you guys are coming from because of that business angle. But the totality, I guess I'm still leaning no. I mean, it's not like my heart and passion is in this, but is this something we really want in Dover?
Yes, I think it is unfortunate that the business owner didn't choose to come because I think that's weakened his case substantially.
So I just
right.
want to add, so again, he's not here, and that's unfortunate. I will say there was some uh, communication back and forth issues, so I don't want to put that all on the owner. We did communicate
Okay.
yesterday by email, but we didn't get confirmation today. Um, so I guess there's a couple options. One, I mean, obviously, defer to the board if you want to vote just to object tonight. This afternoon, we can do that. I have heard from at least some of the members that might be an interest in hearing from the owner. I certainly be willing to reach out to the lottery commission to see if they'd be willing to extend the time. I could let them know that there was an objection. However, they were willing to speak with the business owner, and perhaps bring it back to you. But that's obviously just your option.
Right. So we need to have an answer by
The 30th?
the 30th?
Yeah.
30.
So I could, one, I could see if they extend that, or two, you could vote tonight to object. However, I could certainly speak with them and say that they were willing to reconsider if the owner appeared before them or something like that.
Well, the
Or
other thing
Right.
too, Mike, is I'm assuming that if the owner wanted it and next year, after all of our questions are answered and we all get on board, we can go back to the lottery next year. I don't think this is a permanent decision.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Right. I mean what I'm willing to do is based upon the information I have tonight, take a vote, but should the owner want to come back next week, maybe we could just have a special meeting just to hear this again if there's no objection.
I
Uh,
wouldn't object to
yeah,
that.
I mean, I like that because we're just gathering more information and facts.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. All right. So then I'm going to move to object to the Massachusetts State Lottery installation of a Keno monitor at Dover Wine Company. Um, and should the owner of Dover Wine Company request that the Board of Selectmen hold a meeting to hear the reasons why this installation should occur, I would be willing to reconsider the matter next week before the October 30th deadline.
Second,
All in favor? I, Robin Hunter.
hi, Dave Haviland.
I can, Hudson.
One suggestion that if the um, owner of Dover Wine does wish to have our meeting, should we invite Dover Mobile, who is the other lottery licensed distributor in town? In other words, we'll be supporting one business, but will that be hurting the other?
Yeah, I don't know if they sell Keno. I mean, this is I
Yeah,
just
we don't
I
know.
don't know what's here. Again, I don't know if it's the commission, we can let everybody know that it's a special meeting discussing this, and we could make sure that the mobile knows that this is on the agenda.
Sure. I'd be happy to do that.
Okay.
I'm just trying to be fair, but Robin, you're right. I don't know so many of
I
these.
mean, this is Greek to me.
Yeah, it's interesting because usually at the local level we don't have a lot of say over the lottery, right? We
Right.
don't approve it coming in. This is unique that we got this letter. We've never seen this before. Obviously, we don't have Keno's screen, so this is different to us. So we can certainly pull
Right.
together a little more information. I can speak to mobile, and also let you know if I do talk to the owner of the market and they decide, you know what, it's not. I'm not going to pursue it any further based on your preference. I'll let you know that as well.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you. So the next item, which is item 1.3 on the agenda, is is an appointment, and it's the appointment of Shobha Frey to the Open Space Committee. And we received she actually reached out to the Open Space Committee. She's been a resident of Dover for 25 years, has participated as a volunteer in many different things, and she would like to be considered for the open space position. And I believe the chair of the open space has recommended that we appoint Ms. Frey. Is that correct, Mike?
Yes.
Okay. So I am going to move to appoint Shobha Frey to the Open Space Committee for a 2-year term ending on June 30th, 2027.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, Robin Hunter.
Hi, Dave Haviland.
Hi, Cam Hudson.
And thank you, Shobha, and welcome to the Open Space Committee. It's a
Yeah.
great committee to join. And now the next item on our agenda is update on the Board of Selectmen fiscal year 26 goals and priorities. I got my notice that I could be trained on the online permitting system. So
Oh,
Yes. I think
I
they're
was
not going
pretty
to.
excited.
You seem to have that elite status. I haven't gotten anything. Did you?
yeah, I haven't either. I'm feeling
Well,
left out.
I think the only reason I got it was because I'm the liaison to the planning board, and they got it. So
No, I'm
Okay.
yeah, right. Exactly. All right.
and I was thinking to myself, am I ever going to use this? But I think I'm going to go. I just want to see what it's like.
I'm just ecstatic that it's moving to this point where they're now doing testing. So go, Chris, go.
Training, right?
Yeah, no,
And
really
Jason,
exciting.
it's
And
the team.
the selectmen, yes, you won't have a lot of use. We do hope to roll in 1-day liquor licenses to that system, but that'll be more for our side, not so much yours. So, but you're welcome to attend and learn more. I think that's great.
I can forward the email to you.
Yeah, we're certainly trying to cast a wide net and make it available to as many people as possible. So, but yeah, no, we're happy. The stage it's at, it's ahead of schedule. I think once we get through training and really go through all the forms that have already been generated, we're going to be talking about going live potentially as early as next month. So we're in a really good spot.
That's a huge success. You have a great team, Chris, doing this.
Excellent. Yeah, and I got to thank Jason Belmonte, health director. He's been leading the implementation of the record types or permit types into the system, and we got way more than we bargained for too. We have a lot of fire permits coming on, a lot of DPW permits, so much more than just land use, which we're really happy to see as well. So we really think it's going to be that one-stop shop for residents.
Excellent.
People have been very excited internally, but it's fascinating. This is a small building, so I'm downstairs a lot, and to hear contractors and people when they learn we're going soon, they're so excited because we're one of just the very few towns they deal with that are paper-based. So all around, people are very excited.
See, Mike, I remember when we interviewed you 2 years ago. That's it, I guess.
Yeah.
And you talked about the implementation of the system in Easton, and
that's right.
You had said you really had to encourage people to use it, and maybe less encouragement will be needed now because it's the norm. Right.
They're although sometimes it's too bad we're last in so many things, but the truth is sometimes it's a good thing. This is not new to people, and people are very eager. So.
Right.
So yeah, that was really the big update, and I know a lot of these. Each of the board members are working on different things, so you may hit. I don't want to hit things you're going to hit on your updates, but I wanted to just really highlight the online permitting. Just that behind the scenes, the rail trail project continues to move So that, although it's not been in the public eye recently, it is still moving and will be ready to come back soon for the next phase of that project. The Collins Center and Chris continue to work pretty heavily behind the scenes with anticipating rolling that process out very soon with the Capital Budget Committee. And a number of the quality of life items. So, and I'll let Cam talk about the updates of the sidewalk working group, but Suzanne and I have been working on the age-friendly community designation, as well as the opioid working group. And we're ready and prepared to start to pull those together. So that I think there's some good movement on that. And then the only other thing is I was going to talk with Mo before the meeting. I forgot. I'm not sure who's up next for Selectmen office hours. So just want to, I think Dave was the last one, so maybe Cam's up next. I'm not sure.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm happy to do it.
First.
I haven't done it yet, so I'm eager.
So we'll work with you, Cam, to find a time and date that's good for you. And then if you have a preferred location or if there's an event going on, you'd like to do it as part of that, so we can work with you to help get that scheduled.
Okay, great.
If you're looking for a location, I cannot recommend the community center strongly enough. Just ask Janet or Mark what's a good time. They'll tell you, and then it's like Grand Central Station in there. It's great.
Oh, interesting. I thought Robin was going to push the library.
I was about to say the library's the same way. It was good. Maybe the library needs some TLC too.
They need a new HVAC system, that's for sure.
Right.
We do.
Yes.
Right. It's coming.
That's right.
Christmas is too.
A roof too. That's the both.
All right. Well, thank you, Mike. And then the next item on the agenda is Board of Selectmen updates. So just quickly on my end, as you all are aware, the educators contract we have commenced negotiations. The process so far has just been internally getting all our ducks in a row. Our first meeting with the DSEA will be, I think, in a couple of weeks. So we have just been preparing on our end. I just want to remind everybody that there will not be regular updates. All the negotiations are done in executive session, and until such time that there's a contract for me to share, which we would do in executive session, that is when you will get an update. Warren did reach out to me about, the negotiations, and I am meeting with their liaison, but again, the message is the conversations are commencing. We expect us to reach an agreement somewhere in the spring. That's just because the process is somewhat slow. And, we will not be discussing the terms or what's going on in the negotiation session. And as a matter of fact, at our meeting last week, that was the one reminder to everybody on the committee to remember that everything is done in executive session. Yeah. Unfortunately, I missed the Warren Committee meeting last night because I'm traveling, but I had reached out to the chair before, and then some of the one liaison reached out to me. Chris and I are going to meet next week, and we are going to have a very fun session setting up the budget template for the next fiscal year. So we're going to make sure that we have a copy first that we can't destroy. And then we will begin the update process. And if need be, and we need Carl's help, we will call him. But I think between the two of us, we can get it done together. We also had a good call with the chair of the Warrant Committee. So with Suzanne's help, we are putting together this master calendar. So sort of working back from town meeting and all the critical dates and when we need to have things done, when the warrant opens, when the warrant closes, when departments are going to be presenting to warrant, when the skeleton of the blue book needs to get done. So I think it will be really, really helpful and will be a way for us not to miss something
Mhm.
inadvertently.
Is that going to include capital budget items as well, Robin?
We can. I mean,
I think
we
it
are
would make sense, absolute
okay.
sense.
Okay. So we could do that. I also did have the opportunity to speak to the business manager at the school, and I just reinforced, how important this Collins Center project is to us. And it's just a way for us to make sure that all capital is captured going out, long term, because I said we were concerned about, because we already know that we have a significant amount of capital that needs to be replaced over the next 5 years. And as a town, we are trying to balance debt versus what we're going to pay out of cash, and also very cognizant of not spiking the tax rate for our residents. So I thanked her in advance for their support and help getting the information that we want. And one last thing, if anybody has the opportunity to go over to the high school, that new turf field is really nice.
Oh, good.
And I believe it's open now, including the track. The everything is just so tasteful. The lighting, the LED lightings makes a huge difference. I'm sure every time you get a turf field, the quality gets better and better and better. It's worth going over there and walking around the track.
That's great news.
It looks really good, really, really good. And I guess the student athletes are just thrilled.
Well, yeah, I would be, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So that's good stuff. So, along the lines of timelines for that master schedule, do you remember that memo that was put together from the moderators about 2.5 years ago? Felicia's got a copy, and it talks about if you're a citizen sponsor of a warrant article, when the timelines are.
Those
Uh,
are in there.
yeah, I just want to make sure that they're coordinated. So if something needs to move up or back a week or whatever, that the policy floats
Oh,
with
good,
this
good,
review.
good point.
Um, let's see. I too was away last week, almost completely incommunicado, which was a lot of fun. But where we are is we got a great note from Joanne and Chris that the reconciliation of the accounts on the financial review subcommittee, she's making great progress, and shortly we're going to be caught up through June 30th, which then will allow us to start looking forward. Once we have a good year-end date, all the data is right where we want it, all the accounts. Now we can start looking forward and seeing what else we can do to improve. So that's good. And then Chris, um, if Joanne can, it would be great to start the process with the library trustees to get the bank's name just went right out of my head. Her
Rockland.
I'm sorry?
Rockland.
Rockland, thank you. To get Rockland Trust in to meet the library trustees to start that. Um, I think the library trustees have been more than patient on so many different areas, including this. So
Yep.
if I could ask that meeting, some proposed dates get set up, that would be terrific.
Sure. Yep.
Okay, so that's that. And then the only other one is the 3 to 5 committee, which has turned into somewhat of a difficult wrangling of cats. We seem to, every time we add a member, we lose two. So we're down 4, but we added Lee Gesmer, although he's going to need to be appointed. And I was unaware that James Stewart agreed to do it, and he has been appointed.
No.
No, okay, so we'll need to appoint him. And then I have personal emails asking to resign from Rich Forte, Mark Sorrow, and Carolyn Ringel. So do you need anything more than that, Mike?
So if you could forward those to us and the town clerk,
Yep.
that would be helpful to make it official. They just have to file their formal resignation.
Yes,
And then,
I'm glad that James Stewart has decided to participate. I
right.
did have a discussion with him some weeks back on this very subject, so I'm glad that he's jumped in.
Yes. One of the things that I'm going to be careful of, though, is we don't want committee members with predisposed.
Yes. Right.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so it
I
becomes
don't
an
think
agenda.
I don't think he really has got a strong position on it. So I think he'll be a good member. That's my impression.
I hope, yeah. Well, he's on, so let's move forward. But we do need 2 more members before we can proceed. So if you all know of volunteers in the wings, I've kind of asked through a bunch of people and gotten a polite declines.
You
Okay.
could try, Suzanne has been doing some social media blasts for the planning board. Maybe you could do something like that. I don't, maybe you could get some volunteers. I wonder if just sticking up a flyer, an old fashioned flyer in the community center, is there a bulletin board there or something? I mean, I will ask too, but it's just so difficult to get people to volunteer.
So the other one, which is really weird, is I did not know that Jim Dolly, he was not on any email ever. And so I haven't been in touch with him, and I'm going to
And
have
was
to.
he on the committee?
He supposedly, when Mike sent me over the charge and the
Hmm.
committee members, and he was on it.
Yeah.
But my bad, I didn't know. So in any event, a little bit of I guess we'll have to take 2 steps back before we take the 3 steps forward and reconstitute. But please know that this is not for lack of trying. It's I was like, but we will, we have the charge. We're gonna once we get a committee, we're gonna move forward. So.
I will send out some emails for you too to see because it should be one of these committees where it's a discrete duration, you know, right? You have
Hasn't been yet. It
right.
seems infinite at the moment.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, you're right, Robin. There's a discrete task. There's money. The town meeting dedicated money to
Right.
use a consultant to help.
Right.
And then there should be an end product, right?
Right. There should be a recommendation or a lack of a recommend, there should be an outcome that will be
Correct.
made to the Board of Selectmen.
So there were a few copies passed around when the first burst of activity happened, which includes some end reports from towns with recommendations in it. And so I envisioned having something similar if that works for you all.
I think that would be perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, my concern is that you're going to come to an impasse.
Well, look,
Right.
we literally could have, there are 2 opinions here and
Yes. Right.
go from there. I don't know where it's going to go, but I guess Mike and I are ex officio, which I also learned from that memo. So we won't be voting members. So,
Right.
but
Yeah, I think we really wanted, there was a desire not for the committee's outcome not to be influenced by the selectmen.
absolutely, because we have an inherent bias. I mean,
Right.
so here I am saying we don't want anyone with a bias, and of course, whoever
Right.
runs this as from the selectmen, we'll have one. So we'll do our best to keep this as neutral as possible. We'll look at all the pros and cons we can find. We'll find towns where it is the conversion's already occurred or not occurred, and we'll take it from there. And the consultants will be able to help us with a lot of
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
so, hey, man, that's what's going on there. Not for lack of effort. It is for lack of people.
I think you get an A for effort because I feel like we're playing a game of paddleball, maybe. I keep
It's like,
bringing it back to you, and then you hit it across the net to me.
yeah, I'll come
I'm
back.
like, this is not my baby right now. So,
I will see Suzanne about getting some
yeah.
information out for requests. So that works.
But I will also try and contact people and see if I can get anybody.
If I could just add, we're actually in the process of preparing an email blast for all of the current vacancies for all boards and committees. So we'll obviously make sure that this is on there. And that's going to be an email blast out to our list. So hopefully that'll generate some activity as well.
Right.
Yes. Are you going to put little descriptions in there, Chris?
We will most likely link to the respective web pages or find another article. But we'll make sure that people can get to the information that they need to make a choice.
Is there a 3 to 5 web page?
I believe there is, yeah.
My God, I didn't even know it existed. Where?
Hopefully I'm not misspeaking, but
Yeah.
I think you're right, though, Chris. I think there is.
All right. Well, that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to go find
Well,
the
if
chart.
it doesn't, why don't you wait for Chris to confirm it exists?
yeah, let's
But
do
if it
that.
doesn't exist, we can put it up with the mission and all the stuff.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we should.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if nothing else, that will help assuage James Stewart's fears that this is just being, put in a
Right.
back room or something. It's not. So
I was so glad to hear Lee got back to you because then I was questioning myself as to whether or not I gave you his contact info because
No, you
I had
did.
met with him and then right.
So I literally sent out to the remaining members an email saying, false start. We lost another person. We've got to bring the committee up to full before we start. So
Okay.
we'll do that. We'll get there.
Do any of your friends want to join?
So yeah, you want Theo on it? I mean,
I'll reach out to a couple of people that I know as well and see if they might be interested.
Right.
well, thank you. Good. And hopefully, because it should be once we start and really put our heads down, it should be less than a year.
I completely agree.
I
Right.
mean, with a consultant, if they can do it within 4 months, then we should be done in 6.
Right. Right. I agree.
All right, well, that's all I've got.
Okay, well, I've got a few things. Firstly, as Mike alluded to, we are making some progress on the Traffic Safety Committee. We had a pre-inaugural meeting last week where we had representatives of town departments participating, and that raised a number of really interesting questions. And I think we're trying to gather some more information on the basis of those questions, and then we will have the inaugural meeting fairly soon. I don't know, Mike, whether you've got any sense of when that might be now.
So I think if not today, then Monday we'll send out some dates
Great.
for that group to see who's available, and then we could reach out to the citizens to see if they make those dates as well.
Okay, great. Excellent. So that's moving forward. Another question from my involvement with Open Space Committee was a question that came up about well monitoring devices. As you all probably well recall, we did institute some monitoring on several wells in the town, and we discovered that even though people were anticipating to have automatic data on the status of the wells, um, actually Carl Warnick has been going out to the wells and putting in basically a measuring tape to see how deep they are and reporting that. But of course, that's all done on the spreadsheet and it's not widely accessible. And evidently, we did buy some monitoring devices back then, but they never digitized monitoring devices, but they were never really put in place. And I think Mike has identified that they're not very expensive, and it might make sense for us to move forward with actually putting digital devices on there so that Carl can save a lot of time. He spends about half a day whenever he goes out and does that, and it just seems to make work for no particular reason. And so I'd be strongly recommended we move forward with that.
What's the rough cost, Cam?
Sorry?
Order of magnitude cost. You said they're not that expensive.
About $300 to $400 each.
So there's 14 of them?
I think we can choose as many as we like. I mean, we were initially doing a subset of the wells, weren't we, Robin? I can't really recall exactly what the number that we were monitoring was. Unfortunately, it was set up by Jerry Clark, as you might all recall, and he's left town, so we need to.
He didn't, it was part of a water study that was done, and we had these wells in place, and we decided to monitor them. And
did you want to monitor them all, or just a subset of them? I wasn't sure.
I think we monitored them all, and at first, for many years, we had an intern at the high school who actually went out and monitored the wells. I was never aware that we bought electronic devices. Okay. I do know we used a system called Smartsheet to log in the readings, and then at some point the license expired, and so those weren't being
okay, that might be
shown
the issue.
on the website. But we have not stopped monitoring the wells, and Carl has all of the information, and he also has been looking at how quickly they've recharged, because what has happened is we have lost a lot of water, but then the wells have recharged in some years quite quickly. But I know I did talk to Carl a little bit, and then Chris, I think you and I talked about maybe finding another system that we would be able to show the trend, because we have so much well data now. We have so many years of data that it started getting really difficult to even see the graphs.
Yes, you need something that generates the graphs automatically, I would say. But the other advantage of digitalizing it is, sorry, Mike, just one second. The other advantage of digitalizing it is you can get it in real time, in essence. So you can see how it's recovering after a rainstorm or whatever else. And I think that could be quite interesting. But as long as it was, you could analyze it. Sorry, Dave?
How many of these monitors do we already own? Do you know?
I don't think we own any, or we can't identify where they are if we do own any.
I don't recall. I never, I don't recall that ever. Any talk of that.
I mean, just to provide a little context to Robin's point, we have electronically kept all the monitoring well data. The Smartsheet wasn't working out for a variety of reasons. And so we actually had a volunteer, Elizabeth Nagy, who took all the existing data up through approximately current and was able to integrate it into the Google platform for free. She spent a lot of time, and that's actually how this got identified. We were prepared to actually present, I think, at today's meeting, and it was Elizabeth was going to come and present to you the new well dashboard. And one of the members of the water committee, I believe it's Greg Cahoon, had brought up the fact that we seem to be not having the amount of data he expected, because he was under the impression we did purchase these, we did install them, and perhaps we hadn't been reading them. So as Cam said, we're digging into that, if they do exist, if some exist, if they do exist, why and how we can read that data. The benefit, again, is Kim said, not only the time that Carl takes to read them, but if we did have these monitors, they do daily readings, which we obviously don't want Carl to go out every day for half a day. So it would be better, more frequent data if they did exist. So it was all new information to us. We haven't been able to confirm it, but we are trying to run that down to see.
You
And it
you
would
can
also be good to find out what cost it might be to put electronic monitors on the whole 14 as well.
I think it's 14. That's numbers in the back of my craw for some reason, but I
14,
couldn't.
yeah.
Is that about right,
so-
Chris?
Yep.
So Ron Myrick was very instrumental. He's a hydrologist and he was on the water committee. And actually, he was the one that got the intern he at first was taking all the measurements himself, and then he got an intern. Ron and I still stay in contact. I could ask him, because if anyone were to be the one to recommend the devices, it would have been him. And I
Yeah.
have zero recollection of us ever purchasing monitoring devices. There were rain gauges that we did get some rain gauges from the Commonwealth, and I wonder if that's what people are remembering, but I could be
Mhm.
completely wrong. So when I get back next week, I will email Ron and ask him.
Thanks, Robin.
Great, because for roughly $5,000, if we could digitize this, given the importance of our aquifer, having that information, I think is a worthy cause.
So under the next thing, related to open space, I wanted to let you know that I've also decided to regularly attend conservation commission meetings as well, because the open space and conservation commission have lots of overlaps, and I've been quite enjoying getting a much better understanding of those sort of general issues. So I'm going to keep monitoring that, and I'll let you know if anything comes up in the Conservation Commission as well that I think I need to draw your attention to. One interesting thing that did come up on both the Open Space Committee and the Concom was a request from a local resident, Ted Ladd, who has been living in Dover for many, many years, and who has been a great conservation supporter in the town, and including on the trustees. And he's been maintaining his waterfront property onto the Charles as much as he possibly can, but he's been finding that a lot of other properties haven't been doing a similar job. And he was trying to work out, well, whose responsibility is it to maintain the navigability of the Charles in Dover? And it's become an interesting little question, because nobody seems to know who bears the responsibility for it. And so that's going to keep on being researched by both committees. And I believe Carol Lisbon has also got an interest in trying to understand what's going on there. So I'll keep you informed if there are any updates on that.
Right, and I think Justine is a member of the Charles River watershed, so they may be able to help as well.
Yeah. I think there was some discussion of reaching out to them as well, particularly since they've probably got a better insight how other towns might be approaching the issue as well.
That's what I was thinking, because they're responsible for the entire watershed, so they may,
Right. Then what else? We had a visit from the MBTA Advisory Board representatives earlier in the week, and I was interested basically that they had decided that we were important enough to come and talk to. I'm not sure what's going to come out of it, but it'll be interesting to see what happens there going forward. I think everybody acknowledges that the focus of the advisory board is on T communities, and the adjacent communities seem to be sort of hanging in the breeze to some degree, although they were offering potential support if we ever got to the point of wanting to have a bus, for example, to support the COA in its activities. They would be able to find a deal of financial support for that. So there may be some positive outcomes coming from it, but
So I'm not sure if you remember, we did have a bus at one
Yes, I
point.
did, and Janet was mentioning that as well,
Right.
and it didn't turn out to be well because of the challenges of actually getting people to use it, and
Right.
so it basically languished.
Which was so surprising because we were so
Yeah,
excited to get the bus.
yeah, yeah.
But maybe now with the community center, it would be different because there would be
Broader uses, yeah.
right.
Hmm. Yeah, I think we'll keep an open eye on that one. And now Kevin was going to do some further explorations on that front too, wasn't he, Mike?
He
I
was
forget.
with, we also work with and I'm going to mess up the name, it's the Metro West Regional Transit.
And I think that's where our original
Yes,
band came from.
Mhm.
Right?
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
And he's on that committee, right? And he's going to
Correct.
raise it with them. Mhm. So, well, what else have I got? There's a couple of other things. Oh, I fortuitously came across this program called Climate Community Leaders Program. And this is apparently a step up of the Green Communities Program, where they actually outline identified towns that are community leaders in Massachusetts on the climate front. And so I passed a note over to Anna Nagy, thinking that this was something that would be very much in their bailiwick. I think I copied you as well, Dave.
Yes.
And I thought that was quite interesting. And Robin, I can certainly forward you the information as well if you're interested. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's definitely already got traction at sustainability and is sent it
But
on.
that's the place for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, thank you. And I know that sustainability just caught the ball and running.
That's great. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to see the state trying to support such programs going forward. And the last one I had, and this was a question of both you, Robin, and Dave. The MMA, the Massachusetts Municipal Association, has an annual sort of conflab where it's a get together of various municipalities. Basically, it's a networking session. And I was wondering, A, do you think it's useful for us to go to such a meeting? And B, it does cost $289 to register. So I'm just wondering whether it's worth that.
So back in the day, before COVID, we always went. And the selectmen went along with the town administrator and the assistant town administrator.
Okay.
And it was beneficial. You do meet a lot of people. That is actually where we met Community Paradigm. They have a big trade show. So you also see what kinds of new technologies other towns are using. So it was always fun. The selectmen couldn't always, all of them, make it, but those that could make it found it really beneficial. And it was also a nice day to spend, the selectmen and the staff, and to meet people from other communities. prior to COVID, they used to get a huge turnout.
Hmm.
It was it was
Well, I'd be certainly
and the
willing to go
highlight
just to.
was always we would go out to lunch.
So I'd be certainly willing to go if others of you would care to join me.
What's
My,
the date?
So it's
it's in January.
yeah, Jerry. The main day is Friday the 23rd. That's kind of the big day. They do have some limited events Thursday night, and then some limited events Saturday day. But Friday's the kind of, if you go one day, that's the day to go. Just to add to what Robin said, it is a great event. The best part is the trade show because there's hundreds of vendors and you get all sorts of free things, which is pens and stress balls and all that fun stuff.
Well, that makes it all worthwhile.
Right.
Tote bags.
Very
Water
often
bottle.
the governor, although I don't think she's ever on the schedule, she does come as part of the keynote. She speaks and kind of previews the upcoming fiscal year, you know, what they think the budget's going to look like. And then in the afternoon, there are educational sessions. I think there's a couple blocks where they offer, you know, 4 programs. You have to pick one, and you can attend. So it is a nice event. And if you're available, you know, whether you go for just a portion of the day or the whole day, it's a good event.
Right.
And this is the 23rd of January?
Correct.
Well, I'm going to be in Georgia. So,
Okay.
So next year.
yes.
That's right.
No,
But I'm certainly
no,
happy
not
to go
next
this
year,
year.
the year after, because January 23rd is
That's
it.
right. Exactly. And I am going to ask that we reschedule our meeting on the 22nd because my trip got pushed a week back.
Okay.
So don't have to deal with that now, but at some point.
Okay, well, that was, I think, everything that I had that I wanted to raise.
It was
Yep.
quite extensive. Now, Mike, did we leave you anything? I think what you have to do is one meeting you go first, one meeting we go first,
Right.
so that we don't always steal your thunder because it's not fair.
No, that's okay. Just cross off my list as you speak. So I do have 3 things I think that we didn't hit on. So one is just a reminder that the Dover Fire and Police Open House is this Sunday from 11 to 2, which should be a great time. We continue, similar to the rail trail, we continue to move forward on the new bottleneck grant for our intersection. So we had another meeting, I believe it was yesterday, the day before, which will all accumulate in a proposal that will come forward to you, the selectmen, to start to look at what the options might be at that intersection. As you know, we're very hopeful to engage with the Holbrook Regional Communication Center for our dispatch. I think back in September, the chief said we had been on hold because they were conducting a very thorough assessment, which they received very high marks. So we are hoping now to continue to move that forward. They're doing a site visit tomorrow, so they can evaluate our infrastructure and what sort of upgrades that we would need. And again, the anticipation is those will all be covered as part of the grant through the state, which is great. And then lastly, I'm just keeping an eye on, but I just wanted to let the board know there's a hearing next week at the state level regarding the Municipal Empowerment Act. So it's something that the governor put forward, and there's a number of things in there that aren't necessarily applicable to Dover, like meals and lodging tax increases, but there are some things that are helpful, like updating a lot of our outdated procurement rules. There's a lot of hoops we have to jump through, so raising those levels because things just cost more money, and so acknowledging that so that we don't have to do and follow all the same publishing requirements. As you might remember, we still have not permanently codified the remote meeting that we're doing right now. It's set to expire in 2027, so that act includes making those permanent. And then I think there's also, and I have to learn more about this, there's some local options to regarding the motor vehicle excise tax. So they're looking at ways to help drive local revenue, and there's some piece there being discussed, some sort of local option increase to that for revenue. So again, just following it. You may get some emails from MMA about it to keep you up to date, but I will keep an eye on that.
Thank you.
May I quickly ask a question? The traffic study for the center of town, is it possible to expand that to include the Haven Street intersection?
So the very easy answer is no, because we tried. Kevin,
Stop right there. That's all.
Well, no, but it's a great question. So Kevin absolutely identified that right away. The chief identified that, in myself. So we did put that request to the state, and the grant is so specific to traffic light intersections, they would not expand that scope. However, Kevin and the chief are pursuing a different grant option. And this is for intersections that have at least a two-way stop, which with those two stop signs there, that does qualify. So we are looking to address that. It'll just be through a different avenue, because we agree that's very important. Certainly from the chief's perspective, that is the number one accident-prone intersection we have. And he explained that given the angle of the traffic, it's some pretty serious accidents as well. So.
Right.
Well, we'll have the Dover flyover before we know it. So,
right.
I was going to ask, but I think that has to be the number one accident location in town.
Yes. Yeah. I think
yes,
by quite
the police chief
that
confirms that.
Yeah.
Very
Right.
much so.
Right.
uh,
All right. So now we're moving right along to the consent agenda. And the consent agenda consists of the following. Wow, it's almost Thanksgiving. Vote to the noon closing on Thanksgiving Eve, Wednesday, November 26th, and the closing on Friday, November 28th. Vote noon closing on Christmas Eve, Wednesday, December 24th, and closing on Friday, December 26th. Approve special one-day liquor licenses for October 25th, 2024. That must be 25, right?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Right. And then approve July 11th, July 22nd, August 15th, September 5th, September 19th, October 31st, November 6th, 2024 Board of Selectmen open meeting minutes.
I have one question before we voted. And that is, aren't we closed on Fridays now anyway?
I was gonna.
Yeah, so the townhouse is, but usually you vote for the other like all the departments. So
okay, all right, that makes more sense now.
That's why it's still there.
And I will say, last year, I believe, was the first year that we gave everybody the day after Thanksgiving, and it really was a huge morale booster.
It was. I think
it was
I think
really
we relayed
appreciated.
Yeah. There was a lot of positive feedback, a lot of goodwill, and I think some of it made it directly to you, but also funneled through us. Everyone was very appreciative.
Right. Very, very appreciative. So.
Well, seriously though, I mean, we always gave it at work.
Right.
And so who is going to be doing anything on that day other than digesting turkey?
Right. And with Christmas falling on Thursday, it's the same thing for the Friday following Christmas.
Right.
So it's nice to be able to give, the employees time to spend with their families. So.
Absolutely. So
right.
no brainer.
And to your point, Dave, nobody's going to be doing anything because everybody's going to be with their families. So.
Right. Mm-hmm. So let's make sure our employees get to do the same. So,
right.
sorry,
right.
Go ahead and move it.
Then I'm going to move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, Robin Hunter.
Hi, Dave Haviland.
Hi, Ken Hudson.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you allowing us to have our meeting early today.
Not at
at
all.
all. It's late for you, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, have a great night.
Right.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone. And Chris, I'll see you on Monday or Tuesday.
I think Tuesday.
Yep. Okay. See you then.
All right,
Sounds
safe
good.
travels.
Okay. Safe.
Thanks.
Thank
Yep.
you.